and we will open the session for any quick questions, any interactions, which is any burning questions from anyone. So please introduce yourself and speak, and please give me a mic. Short questions since we have a lack of time, sir. Yeah.
My name is Venkatram. I'm an ICT consultant. The issue that I would like to address is to Mr. Shambhu Singh. You mentioned that you have situations where industry finds that they talk about the software, but don't actually talk about the total cost involved in deployability of the solution and the associated hardware costs. One of the problems which has been highlighted by a panel discussion which Ravi's colleague Sanjay Kumar had held, which was chaired by no less a person than Dr. Kasturi Rangan and had people from DST. The whole issue that was pointed out there is this issue of L1 as the tail wagging the dog in terms of this whole tendering procedure. And one of the issues here, particularly with regard to 3D data that you're talking about, is that people do not take into consideration while drawing up the RFP as to what is the cost involved in A, the exercise in gathering this data, and B, the exercise involved in deploying the data on the hardware platform, and then having the cost. And then we need to follow a procedure like what's done in the US, where the estimates are done properly, and any variation more than 10% this way or that way, even if it's on the lower side, is rejected because the study has been done properly and the RFP has been done properly. This is what I would like to submit to you, sir.
Can we take another question and then we can go about it? Please introduce yourself.
My name is Sivaji Rasai Baba from Jawaharlal Nehru University. My specialization of the postdoctoral thesis is to counter natural calamities with the sustainable approach. My congratulations to the Anil Kumar Sinha, who is bringing the social transformation in Bihar along with Nitish. Very reasonable variations he have explained. Before going to the Japan, how we forgetted and touched about the Pusa tragedy which caused natural calamity long ago. Could you explain something and see the variable experts instead of going to Japan within India? Coming to the second speaker, also reasonably explained in a brief, but insurgency is a more unnatural disaster than the natural disaster of earthquake. Do you see the insurgency is more dangerous and unsustainable in the contemporary period?
Yeah. So I think we will. Yeah. Please first.
Thanks for your comments, but as you said, it's the tail wagging the dog. I would say I am the dog being wagged by the tail because I am being driven by the industry. I am not talking of RFP at all. In our case, situation is opposite. We are approached by the industry with the solutions. Then we put the people, make them sit down, listen to every solution, and then they say, okay, fine, this is the one which might work for us. So that is creating a problem for me. If I had to come out with RFP openly, let me be a little more candid about it. There are several things for which we cannot publish an RFP. There are several areas of activities in which I cannot openly publish a tender and say that I want this. Many things are done very, very quietly. We invite 20 companies, 30 companies, 40 companies to make presentation. But we can't go public with the documents. So that's why my complaint. The reason of my complaint is totally different. Now coming down to the next question. Sustainability or non-sustainability of insurgency cannot be compared with a situation of natural disaster. Now, natural disaster is a natural disaster insurgency is unnatural. And what we call insurgency may not be insurgency in each and every case. From our studies, we can very confidently say that barring one or two odd cases in which the organizations initially genuinely believed that they need sovereignty and autonomy and whatever, in all other cases, they are basically the criminal elements who are making hay while the grass is green. The more the disturbance in the society, the happiest, pardon my words, are the so-called insurgents who are nothing but criminals, the politicians and the police. Common man is always the victim. If he goes to complain to the policeman says that, okay, you are being asked to pay 20 lakhs, so you must be having some 20 lakhs, then only they are asking you. So pay 10 lakhs to me. These are real life experiences. I am not really joking. A poor fellow, if he pays to the insurgent, then the policeman goes and catches him. Why did you pay to him? You are financing a criminal activity. You must be punished. So you go to jail. And there is a third situation in which money is extorted out of you by the so-called protectors of law, and the blame shifted to the criminals or insurgents. This is a situation in which the politician and the policeman thrive. I am not talking of generally, I am talking of specific cases where these have been seen. So they are not interested in stamping out such kind of criminal activities totally from the society. The political process doesn't kick in because they don't want it to kick in. Thank you. I hope I have answered you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really follow your question. Was it Pusa or the Odisha? What was it? 1934 tragedy you are.
Because with similar reasons, Uchi are always resting on the Japan disaster. But long ago, what is in Bihar, whether it is what the seismographers are indicating, but totally they are forgotten. Now they are, after Japan disaster only are opening eyes. Before that,